Chroma keys are the most common effect shots cinematographers are asked to execute. They are relatively simple to set up if you know what you're doing, but if they are not shot well, they can be an absolute nightmare in post. There are plenty of tricks a good editor can use to save a bad key, but every trick takes time and money. Just because a good post house can save a bad key doesn't give the cinematographer license to shoot one. There are just as many tricks cinematographers can use to shoot a good key, and these are some of mine. When shooting data, the most accurate way to check your chroma is balanced is with a waveform monitor. First thing you should do is find the perfect exposure for the color you are keying. To do this, generate color bars from the camera. Each color has a fixed luminance level. If you are shooting green, then find the level of the green bar on the waveform. Mark it. Now light up your chroma. If necessary, lower or raise the bar by altering your exposure. If your camera cannot generate color bars, keep the exposure of the chroma roughly in the center of the waveform. Now we have a good exposure, we need to balance the chroma. By moving the lights around, I can shape the waveform line into different contours. Even though the screen looks balanced to my eye, I can see on the waveform that the chroma is not balanced at the edges. By moving my lights around, I can get an even straight line. Now in terms of exposure, it's balanced. You want to isolate your subjects from the chroma background as much as possible. Motion blur merges a subject into the chroma, so try to minimize it. Make the edge of fast-moving subjects sharp by shooting with tighter shutter angles. My default for chromas is 90 degrees, but I'll go tighter if there is a lot of motion. If you go through these simple setups prior to shooting chromas, your materials will cause no problems in post, and your composites will be clean. To keep setup time and cost to a minimum, form quick and economical setups. It's a bit of a misconception that you need lots of lights for a chroma. I tend to light my chromas with as few lights as possible, so as not to drown out the plan I had for my subjects. You will find it possible to hit the technical requirements I showed earlier with very few lights. There is really no need for messy, hot and expensive setups. The smaller the chroma area, the less light you need. I just used the chroma cloth in the Kinetech DOP kit for this key, and ended up only using two 800-watt octagons to light it. When shooting painted cyclos, the bend is always the most difficult to light. This setup makes it quite easy. Two grand lanterns on full boost with a soft curved diffuser fitted. Suspend them over the chroma at roughly 45 degrees to the bend in the cyclo. When using large chroma cloths like 20x20s, it is difficult to keep the higher parts of the cloth as bright as the bottom, because the light decreases the further it throws. It is common to see lots of lights lined up on both sides of the chroma to keep the top balanced to the bottom. I had no choice in this setup, as the high speeds dictated a lot of light, but the more lights you add, the more difficult it becomes to adjust. To eliminate the problem of uneven throw, I tilt the cloths forward, towards the light. This balances the exposure, as the throw is equal to the top and bottom of the chroma. Plus, it allows us to light large cloths with only two lights, making this setup simple and quick. My favorite light for this is also the lantern, with either soft curve or white reflector. The tilted cloth setup also works well if you have low angle shots, as the chroma leans over the subject's head, allowing you to tilt up towards the ceiling. It also helps if you need to hide your lights. I often put two lanterns on the floor and tilt the cloth forward until the exposure is even. A few of my simple setups and solutions for successful chroma keys. Hope they are useful to you.